Hey guys, today we are going to read more Kodiak, and so I'm sorry that I have not been uploading so long because I was pretty sick, pretty bad, but I'm feeling way better now, and I'm not sick anymore. So guys, let's get started. Chapter 6, I think. Yeah, it's chapter 6. So yeah, let's get started. What, Lizzie? Whirled around. Wasn't Kodiak right behind her? No, he was not. He was nowhere in sight. Kodiak had disappeared. Where did he go? Lizzie asked. She couldn't believe her eyes. How could it happen? The big fluffy puppy had slipped away without a sound. He was right there a second ago, said Maria, frowning as she pointed to a spot behind Lizzie. He was being so good bringing us sticks in case we needed them for our fairy house. But Camilla, could he just vanish like that? Asked Camilla. Lizzie hung her head. It's all my fault. I let go of his leash. She felt terrible, ashamed. What had she been thinking? Camilla put a hand on her shoulder. It's okay, she said. We all make mistakes. The important thing is to learn from them. Lizzie didn't even want to think about lessons she might learn from this mistake. She just wanted to find that puppy now. She cupped her hands around her mouth. Kodiak! She shouted. Her heart dropped into her stomach. What was the use of calling? They had only come up with his name the right before. Plus, the puppy could be anywhere. The cabin was surrounded by woods that went on for long in every direction. How were they ever going to find him? She kicked at the pile of bark. So she'd bark. She'd so carefully stack. Suddenly, it made her feel sick to look at the perfect little bird's nest she'd found. Maybe Kodiak is just, a wander, Maria said. Maybe he's always going to want to roam, even if people have been really, really nice to him. Lizzie shook her head. She knew Malamutes and Tuskies were famous for loving to run and run and run and run, but she didn't want to think that Kodiak had wanted to leave them. Dogs needed their people, just like people needed their dogs for companionship and comfort and fun. Kodiak cared for her and Maria and Camilla. It was obvious, but he felt at home with them. Why would he go away? Okay, let's make a plan, said Camilla. She squatted down, picked up a stick, and drew it a little map in the dirt. Here's the house, she said, making a big X. The lake is down that way, and the car's over here, down the trail. You two go toward the parking spot and stay together. When you get to the car, turn around and come right back up the trail. Don't wander around in the woods. Stay on the trail, understand? Lizzie and Maria nodded. I'll go down towards the lake, said Camilla. I was just running down that way, but who knows? Maybe he cut through the woods. We'll be back. We'll meet back here in 15 minutes, okay? Lizzie and Maria nodded. Don't worry, said Camila. We'll find him. Keep calling and listening for him barking or whining. But he's always quiet, said Maria. We haven't heard him bark once. Camila shrugged. Maybe he'll bark if he's in trouble, she said. Lizzie and Maria headed down the trail. Lizzie scanned the woods as she walked, hoping for a flash of white and gray. Kodiak, she called. She thought about how happy and excited she had felt the day before when they were walking the opposite direction of the same path toward the cabin. It was so special to be at the cabin with Camila and Maria, and then to have a foster puppy too. Also, Lizzie pictured Kodiak's fur, perky ears, his beautiful masked face, and happy pink tongue. And oh, that tail, she couldn't just see it waving like a beautiful plane. Kodiak, she called again. When they got to the stream, they paused for a moment to look up and down its length. This is where the dog food fell out of the wagon, Lizzie said. Maria giggled, then put a hand over her mouth. I'm sorry, but it was funny. Remember how right before that you were yelling at him to, whoa! He hardly slowed down. He just howled back at you like this. She threw back her head and woo, like a wolf. Lizzie wanted to laugh, but she couldn't. Remembering that moment made her miss Kodiak even more. Then she heard something. Hold on, she said. Did you hear that, Maria? Did you hear? Then she heard something. Hold on, she said. Did you hear that? Maria cupped an ear to listen. Hear what? She said, a howl in the distance. That way. Lizzie pointed back toward the cabin. I heard it, I'm sure. She threw back her head and howled even more loudly than Maria had. Woo! She called. Then she held up her hand, listening. Woo! Came a tiny echo. Lizzie started to gallop back up the trail. Come on, she said, waving a hand at Maria. That's Kodiak. I'm sure of it. Woo! She called over and over as she ran, stumbling over the roots and rocks. Lizzie and Maria popped out into the clearing at the same time as Camila. I hear howling, Camila said. Was that you guys? It was us, but also Kodiak, said Lizzie, panting. Let out another long woo! Woo! Came the echo, and this time it was louder. See, it sounds like it's coming from behind the cabin, said Lizzie. She dashed around to the back of the expecting to see the big fluffy puppy grinning at her and waving his tail, but he wasn't there. Lizzie stood with her back to the cabin and stared into the woods. There was no real trail on this side of the cabin. If Kodiak had run into the part of the forest, they would have to bushwhack, whatever that means, as Maria's father called it, to find him. Pushed their way through the thick undergrowth, she sighed. How were they ever going to track down that puppy? Woo! Came a howl from right behind her. Lizzie whirled around to look at the cabin. Had Kodiak gotten trapped inside somewhere? Go inside and check all the rooms, she yelled to Maria and Camila. He's right here somewhere. Chapter 7. While Maria and Camila checked inside, Lizzie checked the outhouse. She couldn't imagine how Kodiak might have gotten in there, but you never knew. The outhouse was empty. That wasn't really a surprise. Lizzie came out and spun around in a circle, wondering where Kodiak was. He was so nearby. Woo! She called softly. Woo! Came an answering howl. Lizzie followed the sound along the back wall of a house. Ooh! She called again. Ooh! Kodiak! Lizzie bent down to see the tip of a nose sticking out from under the cabin. There you are! She stood up and cupped her hands around her mouth. Found him! She yelled. Then she bent down again. Are you stuck under there? She asked. Poor Kodiak, you're stuck under there. She asked poor Kodiak. Were they going to have shovel him out or figure out a way to lift the cabin? He shuffled forward a bit, pulling at the dirt with his big paws, but then he stopped. Lizzie saw the whites of his eyes as he glanced his left. What was scaring the big puppy so much? Is it this? Lizzie asked, touching the handle of the snow shovel for storage. The shovel was lightweight plastic with a wide yellow blade, and Kodiak easily could have pushed it past it. But there must have been something about its shape that frightened him. Lizzie pulled the shovel out of his way. There you go, sir, she said. Immediately, Cody wriggled out from under the cabin. Camila and Maria rounded the corner just as they shaking himself off. His coat was streaked with dirt. But Lizzie, who felt almost dizzy with relief, thought he looked more handsome than ever. He smiled up at them, his big brown eyes dancing. He wagged his plume of a tail. Hey, thanks. I could have gotten out myself, of course, but it's always nice to have help. Lizzie, Maria, and Camila all burst out laughing. I don't believe it, said Camila. He was under there the whole time. Was he stuck? Maria asked. He thought he was, said Lizzie, until she told them about the snow shovel she'd moved. It reminds me of this one time Buddy thought he couldn't get past the Bean's tricycle. He thought he was trapped in a corner of the garage. Sometimes dogs just get scared of things for no good reason. Well, he's out now, said Camila, kneeling down to give him a hug. Let's get this dude cleaned up and bring him inside before he disappears again. Maria ran for a towel and Simba's brush. I wonder why he went under there in the first place, said Camila. Probably chasing something, Lizzie said. Means they want to chase things that are moving. Kind of like this husky we take care of, Misha. He loves to chase squirrels. It's almost impossible to hold him back when he spots one. Maria was back with the brush and towel. She nodded. Misha pulled me right over one time, she said, and dragged me across the yard. No matter more of that while we're here, Maria said, shaking a finger at Kodiak. You hear me, young man? She was smiling. I'm just so glad he's okay, she said. After they cleaned him up, they took Kodiak inside, where he gulped down a huge drink of water, then collapsed on Simba's bed next to the wood stove. I think that experience kind of wore him out, said Lizzie. Me too, said Camila, plopping down onto the couch. I think I'm ready for a nap, Lizzie plopped down next to her. The funny thing is that if anybody ever wants to teach Kodiak how to skilladure or pull a sled, they are going to have to teach him that woo doesn't mean sing. It means slow down. I have no idea. Camila asked, what's that? Lizzie explained the skijoring, I think, was when a person on skis was connected by a long line to a dog in a harness, and the dog helped to pull the person along the snow. But that sounds like a blast. But does the dog like it? Camila asked. They love it, said Lizzie. Hey, she said, turning to Maria, that's it. Maybe Kodiak can be a sled dog like a bear, or a skill dog like Zipper. Those were two other puppies Lizzie and her family had fostered, both like Kodiak, were built for pulling. Maybe, said Maria. She was at the table, working on a jigsaw puzzle, a big picture of an Eiffel Tower in France. Lizzie wondered if the people who had adopted each of those puppies would be interested in another dog as soon as she got home. She was going to contact them. Maybe Mom and Dad would even agree to drive up north to see them and let them meet Kodiak. Their family had not taken a trip together in a long time. You would love Bear, she said, stroking Kodiak's big, broad head. He had climbed up on the couch to squeeze himself between her and Camila. Zipper, too. They both love to pull and run, just like you do. Kodiak looked up at her, tilting his head. He put a big paw on her lap. Right now, I'm very happy to be here with you. After dinner that night, Lizzie pulled out the notebook Camila had given her. Is it okay to write in my gratitude journal more than once a day? She asked. It's 100% okay, Camila. The most gratitude, better. Lizzie sat cross-legged on the couch with the book in her lap. She opened it, picked out a gold marker, and wrote, Grateful, grateful that we found Kodiak. Chapter 8. So guys, we are going to stop right there and comment down below what part you liked best, Chapter 6 or Chapter 7. I think I liked Chapter 6 because it was like, oh, I really like that part. So guys, we are finished for these 2 chapters. And so guys, bye!